Court resumed today for the man who's accused of fatally shooting his two teenage daughters, Amina and Sarah, back on New Year's Day in 2008. The girls had been found gunned down in the back of their father's taxi cab in Irving, Texas. What's more, after being shot, Sarah Said called 911 begging for help, saying she had just been shot by her father and that she was dying. Their father, Yaser Said, claims he did not kill the girls, but his actions after their deaths was suspicious, according to detectives. Yaser fled the scene and spent 12 years on the run, eventually landing himself on the FBI's most wanted list. But in 2020, he was captured, and now he's facing a jury of his peers. If you're unfamiliar with this case, Court TV anchor Ted Rollins has more in this piece.
What's going on, man?
I'm dying.
A panicked call to 911, the voice of Sarah Said, filled with fear and terror.
Ma'am, are you still there? All I got is she's telling me she's dying.
Police would track that call to this hotel parking lot, where they would find an abandoned taxi inside the bodies of sisters Sarah and Amina Said.
Our investigation quickly led for us to suspect that their father, Yaser Abdel Said, was the person responsible for their brutal murder.
The girls were shot to death, their father gone, sparking a manhunt that spanned the globe from the U.S. to his native Egypt. Despite the notoriety of being profiled as one of the FBI's most wanted, Yaser Said evaded capture for more than 12 years.
I don't think he ever left the States. I believe he's been here the whole time.
Justice for Amina and Sarah inspired the documentary The Price of Honor.
Well, now for the first time, the FBI says this may have been an honor killing.
Police say Yaser disapproved of his daughter's relationships with non-Muslim men, believing it had brought shame to the family.
All she really said was that her dad was strict. And the relationship progressed. She would tell me more and more horror stories.
The girls were becoming Americanized. They wanted to marry for love instead of being forced into a marriage. And for him, he was losing control, and he thought that they were bringing disgrace to the family and to him by not listening to him and doing as he wanted.
Neena Nejad is the producer and director of Price of Honor.
A lot of it is how they were raised. They were raised as men, you control your women. And if they do anything to disgrace that, you have to, you have to have your house in order. Then you have to do whatever you have to do to put it back in order. That means to kill in order to restore your name, your family's name, and bring honor back to your family, then that's what you do.
While investigators suspect the sister's death as possible honor killings, police are quick to say there is no honor in murder.
This man brutally murdered, shot to death, his two daughters in his taxi cab. What led him to do that, I think at this point to us is irrelevant. The fact that he murdered his two daughters, the fact that he's been on the run for 12 years, and the fact that tonight his flight from justice ended and justice for Amina and Sarah begins.
Does the record reflect that the defendant is present with his attorney? The state is present, and we are outside the presence of the jury.
Yaser Said maintains his innocence. He faces murder charges and, if convicted, life in prison.
That was Ted Rollins reporting there, and our special guest tonight is that documentary filmmaker Neena Nejad, who made that 2014 film, The Price of Honor. Neena, thank you so much for coming on the program tonight. It's really fascinating work that you've done, and I'm glad we have an opportunity to talk to you more about it on the show tonight. Could we start with just your interest in this case? What got you interested in even the idea of making a documentary about it?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Well, I'm originally from the Middle East, and I wanted to do a documentary about honor killings and how they're happening here in the States, because one thing I realized was that Americans really don't know what honor killings are or honor violence. So, and this was around the time where we were hearing a lot of horror stories coming out of Afghanistan with the Taliban and how they were treating the women over there. So I wanted to, originally the idea was to take a couple of cases that had happened here in the States that were honor killings. And Amina and Sarah happened to be one of those cases, but the only difference was their father hadn't been caught, where the other ones that we were going to cover, the perpetrator had been captured and jailed. So the more we got into the story of Amina and Sarah, it just kind of took a life of its own. And so we decided that their story needs to be told. And so we shifted our original idea of the documentary to focus on their story, but to also still talk about honor killings and honor violence.
That's wonderful. You decided
and also to really kind of put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, please go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
And also we wanted to kind of bring into light that Yaser hadn't been captured, and to kind of put his face out there more, so that, hopefully that he would get captured, which it did help.
Right, absolutely. Maybe it did help, Neena. You've been kind enough to share with Court TV some clips from your documentary, and I want to play one of them now. This is where the mother of Amina's boyfriend is talking about how all Amina Said wanted out of life was to feel loved and to be happy, and how she gave up her life in order to experience that. Take a look.
She just wanted to have happiness. She wanted to have love, and she wanted to be loved. And in the household that she was, she never experienced that. But I'm grateful for the time that we had with her, because she knew what family was, she knew what unconditional love was, and she knew what true love was, because she got that from my son and her relationship. And she was willing to sacrifice everything for that love, and ultimately did.
Neena, when you were conducting all these interviews, I'm sure there are lots of questions and information that comes out that is stunning. What was the most stunning thing about all of this that you learned through the investigative journalism work that you were doing?
Oh, God. I think the biggest surprise was the interview we did with Patricia. We did 2 separate interviews a year apart. And it was just amazing how Ruth had more compassion than Patricia did about what had happened. Ruth had pushed so much more to bringing justice to Amina and Sarah than Patricia did. And also I think the biggest thing was the love story between Joseph and Amina, and just what amazing girls these two were, and so much life ahead of them. So it's just, it was, when we went to the cemetery, I think that was definitely for me, that was the reality of, oh my God, they're really gone. Beforehand, we were doing the interviews, we were talking to people, it just wasn't, it didn't seem real. But when we were actually at the cemetery and saw the tombstones, and that was for me, that was the moment I was like, oh my God, they're really gone. It was just a surreal moment.
Sure. Well, and like you said, for anybody at home, I want to make the connection. You mentioned Patricia. It's surprising you that you said Patricia didn't seem quite as sympathetic to all this. Patricia's the children's mother. She's the mom of those girls. So for everybody at home wondering who that is Mom, who's married to Yaser Said, the mom who birthed those 2 gorgeous girls whose lives were cut so tragically short. Neena, I want to play another clip. We know that many people watching this case unfold, and probably many people who watched your documentary, believe this was an honor killing. And it's hard to kind of understand that. We'll unpack that a little bit. But this is something that police rejected in this case early on. They really rejected that terminology. We've got a clip about it. Let's watch.
Was there a mistake on the FBI's website?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what was that mistake?
The Lori Gibbs, when she first told me that she had put it on the website when she was telling me this, she said that she had listed it as a honor killing. And that's something that we had not, that was incorrect.
Urban PD rejected that.
Right. So she said she would have it removed.
And she removed it.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well, no matter what you call it, a killing is a killing, unlawful any way you look at it or how you characterize it. I know you know that, Neena. But honor killings, I think many Americans might be unfamiliar. I know I certainly wasn't until we started doing some research into this case and trying to understand it. Help us unpack that. It's our understanding this allegation is that he might have felt that there was shame brought on his family because his daughters were doing American things, and so the killing is in some sort of honor?
So, yes, so honor killing falls under the umbrella of honor violence. And what honor violence is, so if you anything like female genital mutilation, child brides, forced marriages, and honor killings, those all fall under the umbrella of honor violence. And with honor killings, basically, if anyone does anything to disgrace the family, bring shame to the family, dishonor the family, then the only way to restore honor is it's kind of like life for a life. So you give your life in order to restore your family's honor. And it does happen, unfortunately, a lot in the Middle Eastern countries. However, it's not religious based. I think that's one misconception people make. They think it's an Islam thing, but there's nothing in the Quran that says that that's acceptable. It is based on tribal cultures that go back hundreds of years that has been carried on throughout. It does happen a lot in like small villages and rural areas, not so much in big cities. So, and it does happen all around the world. It's not just mainly in Muslim countries. I mean, there are even Christian families that practice honor killings. So, and it does predominantly happen to women, but it does also happen to men as well.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to ask you about Yaser Said's son. He's got a son too, right? And we know his daughters allegedly were treated shamefully by him throughout their lives. There are allegations of physical abuse, emotional abuse, even sexual abuse allegations at one point in time. Was the son treated this well?
No, and that's the distinction that why we label this as an honor killing is the difference between, there can be a bit of fine line between domestic violence and honor violence or honor killing. And however, this is a perfect example of why this is an honor killing is when you have a domestic violence situation, the abuser will abuse anyone in the household. It doesn't matter if it's the son, the daughters, the wife, whoever. They're equally abused. However, in this situation, the only people he abused, the only people Yaser wanted to control was the girls. He never once laid his hands on Islam. He never once tried to control Islam. He never once took Islam's phone to see if he was talking to any girls. It was all geared towards the female in the household. So that's why, for us, this was an act of honor killing.
Wow. That's really sickening, also fascinating when you think about the alleged criminality behind it. Neena, I have to tell you, I wondered if he did sexually abuse those girls when they were young, and he was, as you noted, controlling them, exerting control over them with emotional abuse, physical abuse, all of that. I wondered if this could be a situation where if I can't have you, nobody can kind of thing, because they were dating, they found nice young men that they were spending their time with and living their lives. And so that was something I was kind of thinking about, and maybe that's what the police were thinking about too. But at any rate, he's being prosecuted for 2 homicides. So no matter what way we characterize this, and no matter what the motivation may be for these alleged heinous acts, he is still on trial.